Welcome everyone to another episode of Aging in Action. And we're very happy to have with us today Shirley Rajotte. And Shirley is with NISA. And I'm going to let Shirley introduce herself and explain who her partners are there with her and what NISA is about. So hi, Shirley.
Hi, Shirley. Hi, everyone.
Hi. My name is Shirley, and I am the Older Adult Program Coordinator. NISA is a nonprofit mental health support. It's a peer-run organization, so we don't have clients. We have peers.
Okay.
All staff members either have to have lived experience in mental health issues. Our funding is 80% from the Ontario Health, 20% from service agreements, and we do fundraising throughout the year. Our team was founded in 2019. We're sponsored by Health Canada, and unfortunately, COVID put a screw into the works. So we have been graciously extended to 2026.
Oh, perfect.
So it started off as a pilot program just to see how great the need is for peer support for older adults. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to Paula, who is one of the older adult peer support workers.
Hi, Paula.
Hi, Paula.
Hi. Yeah.
Anything specific you want me to address?
No, just talk about the program.
Okay, I'm Paula. I'm the newest member of the older adult program here at NISA. And I really feel like our older adults and seniors need more dignity and respect. And I really stand behind what NISA stands for. And as Shirley said, we don't have clients, we have members. So it's important that our members take part in things, and I want them to be able to have community inclusion. So some of our elders are stuck in places where we need to be able to go to them and help them to not feel lonely and isolated. But if in any way we can encourage them to come to NISA and take part in the wellness groups that we have, just peer support if they need to talk about something, or to collaborate with other agencies in the community to see what their needs are, to make sure that all their holistic issues may be addressed. We provide more of an emotional support. So I have taken people and assisted them in their appointments because they didn't feel that they were getting the dignity and respect that they needed through their doctors. And so just supporting them to be able to do that. It's an important aspect of people's mental health to just really feel like they're important, and not that dignity and respect needs to be brought back to them. So I find there's a lot of that here at NISA. And so if we could take part in that in any way is helpful. Maybe Marek can explain more.
Yes, hello everybody. My name is Marek, but it's hard to match what Paula just mentioned in her great description of our program. But it is, I would say, in addition to what has already been said by her and Shirley, it's also quite a dynamic and multi-pronged program. So for example, we will have, every week we have an older adult coffee circle where older adults are welcome to come and participate in a closed and confidential group setting where we can discuss any and basically all issues related to aging, whether it's coping with physical difficulties or psychological challenges, or emotional issues, and just the stuff of life that people who are aging into the later chapters of life have to come to terms with. Now, that said, it's not all doom and gloom. It's not all about aches and pains and joint complaints, which I can personally allow to, but in addition to that, we on occasion we will have speakers. So for example, our most recent speaker was a 75-year-old man who came in basically giving us his version, his personal experience on how to age well, Well, this fellow who is from Sudbury happens to be the 5th best person in the world for shot put throwing and javelin throwing as well in the world. And he's 75 years old. And, you know, he has the slim trim figure of a 35-year-old, you know, so granted, he may be an exception, but still I think that kind of example provides encouragement and hope for people who are aging, that it doesn't have to be about all the problems that we do have. And he admitted to his own difficulties in aging as well, but are able to rise above those and, you know, still pursue a life of meaning. So that's one aspect of it, is our weekly meetings. Another one is the telephone work that we do as well. For whatever reasons, a lot of people will not come out to meet NISA on site, particularly older adults. So we have the telephone work and we reach out to them in their homes, institutions, apartments, and whatever. So we really try to work hard in keeping NISA connected to the people who could benefit from our programs and services.
What age group, I mean, what's the demographic? Do you start at 50 plus, or is it?
We're pretty close, 55 and over.
Okay. And is it a big area that you're servicing? Is it all of Northern Ontario, or is it more in the city of Greater Sudbury, or?
Yeah, right now it's just the city of Greater Sudbury. We're hoping that we can eventually bring it out farther, like maybe try and go to Espanola and see what we can do there. And what we want to do is we want to prove to Health Canada that this is something that is very needed. We haven't really been able to get back into the homes, the long-term care.
Yeah.
We have joined up with Pioneer Manor, and we are going to go and take their orientation, and we're going to train some volunteers that live within the manor to become peer support workers. So there are some right on site. And Marek was mentioning the phone calls. The past 2 months, phone calls and personal interactions within NISA have been over 600.
Oh,
So it's something that's greatly needed.
well, sorry, go ahead, Joy.
How does someone reach out to you if they're thinking, you know, maybe they'd like to stop in, visit with NISA, maybe they're looking for just companion conversation to happen? What does that look like? How does someone reach out and contact you? Can they just call? Are they able to drop in?
Yeah, they can call us at 705-222-6472. And that is the main number. To reach the older adult team, my extension is 514. When they can come in, we're at 36 Elgin on the upper floor above the dentist's office. They can come in, and what we do is we bring them on a tour of the facilities and show them what we do and how we do it. We have twice a week a group we call Food is Mood. And what that does, you have so many members help a staff member cook a meal. And once the meal is cooked, those 5 staff members get to eat. So that is very popular, really popular, because there's food.
Anytime there's food, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Especially if it's free.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
Well-
on NISA's dime.
Well, yeah, and you know, and it's funny because before we were starting this episode, we were talking about ageism again, and part of it was I brought up the fact I'm turning 70 in December, and I'm just so tired of the obstacles that they keep putting up to seniors, or they treat you a different way because you reach a particular age. I still think I'm 19 in my brain, but I'm not. But
Yeah.
it's you get it. constantly the ageism through all different types of situations, right? You talk about the medical field, but it's everywhere and every constant
Exactly.
saying you can't do this, or you know, as if one day you're an intelligent person that can make decisions and the very next day you're incapable of making decisions without help.
That's right. And that's when sometimes people think, well, it's time for you to go into long-term care.
Yeah.
When you're quite capable of taking
Yes.
care of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have groups going on here all day from Monday to Friday. And they're not all for older adults, but older adults join in all the time. We have, we're going to be doing bingo for them once a month, and because they love their bingo. And we're trying to do, actually, I'm doing a group at the beginning of November on ageism. And
You should go, Gwen.
I could not believe when I Googled it, what ageism really is.
And we actually had an episode on our show last year talking about ageism and how prevalent and how we don't even realize sometimes, you know, you get you want to give somebody a birthday card for their 50th, and it has all this connotation about how, you know, your body's falling apart and all of these things, and we do it. Then I'm guilty as well. I was buying into that sort of thought process, you know. So I think it's so important to keep talking about it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going quietly into the night.
Me either. They're gonna have to drag me kicking and screaming.
Shirley, I was looking at your website, and I was looking at your agenda, and I saw a writing circle, and I thought that was really interesting. Can you maybe elaborate on what exactly that entails?
Actually, I will let Marek talk about that because he does fill in and do the writer's circle every so often.
Yeah, on occasion, and sometimes I participate as a member. It's really good. It's run by Sabine. She's the woman who generally runs the writer circle, and she's also the editor of our quarterly magazine, which is called Open Minds Quarterly. And it's usually a 2-hour session every Tuesday afternoon at 1 o'clock. Anyone is welcome to participate, to come in. And basically we do writing exercises. So for example, we may start with some key terms. Let's say, okay, let's talk about Christmas since it's coming up, and a bunch of words may be put on the board about Christmas. And then each of the participants will be asked to write a story, their thoughts, their reflections, trying to incorporate as many of those words as possible into their narrative. But it's very loosely based. They're not being marked on how many words they actually get to put in the body of the piece that they're writing. But it's really a good place for people to explore their creative potential, because it is very positive. Each one of us afterwards, after their reading, is asked, you know, to contribute what they liked about the piece, you know, whether it was strong alliteration, you know, level of interest, and so on. So we really focus on giving people positive feedback. And I must say there's quite a loyal following of people who come in every Tuesday specifically for that group.
To add to that too, Marek, on twice a month we have an open mic, and some of our older adults, they've had this dream of all these songs that they've been wanting to sing, and so they practice them right up until open mic when they get to sing them. And some of the people now are coming with stories that they have written or learned how to, but that they've taken out of the writing circle, and they're reading those stories to us. And so it's therapy that just keeps going. And you know, you mentioned you feel like you're 19. So you have to take into consideration, you know, like some things don't work as well as they used to, but I think we all deserve to feel young, because we're always going to be young at heart, and we need to stir up that hope and bring that life into people. And so that's a bonus I think we can bring to the table.
I guess COVID too really hit home how damaging isolation was to not only the younger crowd, but to seniors, and especially if you had mobility issues, or everything just got compounded during COVID, right? And mental health issues in particular. It was tragic what was going on. So the more things that we're able to do to help people who feel isolated, I think it's a better thing for all of us.
Yeah, NISA as a whole, we worked right through COVID. We worked from home and we had our phones. We would answer phone calls. We would make phone calls so that to let people know that, hey, we're still here for you.
Yeah.
Like, you need to talk, we're here.
Yeah.
Shirley, how many volunteers do you have at NISA approximately?
Right now I have 4 trained volunteers.
Okay.
Paula and Marek are both staff.
Okay.
So we are looking at training another group of volunteers. And what we do with our volunteers is we have them do peer support on site for 4 weeks. So we can monitor them. I set them up with a mentor and they report to their mentor once a week and just talk about anything that may have come up, or what went well, what didn't go well. And we will do that until we feel that they're ready to go out into the community and do volunteering.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a 24-hour service?
No, unfortunately, NISA itself is open Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 3:30, or 9:30 to 3:30. And we have the regional warm line,
Okay.
which is open 7 days a week, 365. It's a toll-free number. Do you have that number offhand?
Not offhand, no.
No?
I'll look on your website.
Oh, there it is.
What?
1-866-856-9276. Warm. So it's from 6 p.m. to midnight.
Okay.
6 p.m. to midnight. Yeah, that's good to know, because again, people with isolation, right? And sometimes it doesn't happen at any particular hour of the day, but it's always good to know that there's somebody available during the day or the nighttime. So that's good. Yeah.
Gwen, if I may say to your earlier question about accessibility for seniors, a lot of the people on the warm line are seniors who are calling in.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. No, it's so important.
We mentioned during COVID, but even now, there's still some people. I called a gentleman probably about 2 weeks ago, and he was so happy because there's still COVID happening in some of the long-term cares, and he can't come out. He's fine, but he can't come out because they're still on lockdown. And so it almost sounded like he was almost ready to cry because he thought we had forgotten about him, because most of us get to go on almost with our regular lives, right? But people in long-term care still can't.
No, and yeah, again, all during that time, right? And people, they were waiting so desperately to be with family, with friends, or whatever way they could. In Zoom, it turns out it was a really good tool for a lot of us to keep talking to each other and reaching out to each other, because otherwise I can't even imagine going through all that time without having something like this. But fortunately, we have access to computers and technology, and not everybody does. So it's good to know that they can call in.
Well, and I think also it may have brought to light for many individuals, they also now aren't comfortable as much going back out into community or engaging in events or gatherings. after a few years, you kind of get used to those walls. And then now it's a totally different mental health component where, the outreach is necessary for multiple reasons. And not only that, everyone has a fear. Flu season's here, right? Again, fall is embarking, pneumonia, and there's so many other components in healthcare issues. So I think a lot of individuals, especially as we're getting older, or if they have other health concerns, they're a little bit more cautious too. So I think it's nice to have another option versus just stopping in and visiting.
Yeah, we do have a lot of our older adults. Back when they were young, having a mental illness was like taboo. It was a big stigma. And if you had a mental illness, well, you belong in an institution,
Yeah.
So what we try and tell them is that, what, it's okay not to be okay.
Yeah.
We can talk to you, and everything we talk with them about is 100% confidential.
Yeah.
So nobody knows what I talk to my peers about, or Marek or Paula. Nobody knows that. That stays between our member and ourselves,
Yep.
which helps build a trust.
Yeah. Well, we do need to continually be talking about it so that there is no more barriers or embarrassment about needing to talk to somebody, right? Yeah.
Especially
We
with the
do.
winter months.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a whole different conversation, right? Winter approaches and it's darker longer and it's too cold to you don't even want to put your foot outside the door. So I can imagine it brings its own challenges.
Or
That's
climb
right.
over snowbanks. How we doing for time, Joy?
We're just coming around to the last minute or so of our conversation for today with Aging in Action. That being said, Shirley and the rest of your team, is there any other words of wisdom or any other information you'd like to share while you have an opportunity?
Okay, yeah, if I may, I'd just like to point something out, and that is I'm holding in front of me a monthly schedule here, and this is of all the programs available throughout the entire month of October. We have one for every month. Generally, they follow an overarching theme, which this month happens to be on occupational wellness. But just let me pick out a few for you. There's something on the YMCA employment presentation. So we'll have guest speakers in for that. There's chair yoga. There's seminars or groups on recovery wellness and so on. So every month, we've got a pretty diverse and dynamic menu of different topics and classes, or groups, I should say, not really classes, available for everybody, both older adults and the larger NISA family.
And that's all available on your website. Am I correct, Marek?
Actually, most of this is actually on site. However, having said that, some of these groups are virtual, so they're able to participate vis-a-vis Zoom.
But the calendar itself is available on your website if somebody's looking.
Yeah, or our
Yes.
Facebook page.
Okay. Or
Yeah.
Facebook, perfect social media. Well, thank you very much for taking the time today, Shirley and team. Marek, Paula, it was very nice to meet you. We appreciate you spending the quality time with us this afternoon. And thank you on behalf of Aging in Action for joining us, our viewers and our listeners. And we look forward to seeing you all again next week on Aging in Action. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.